In this video, I'm going to give you a complete checklist, one step after another, of what you need to do to become a virtual assistant. So if you are a beginner to virtual assistants and you want to get started, I will advise you to find a pen and paper and take some notes, because it will be easier for you to take action and start implementing what you learn if you have it written down step by step on a piece of paper. And of course, if you have any comment at any point in the video, you can simply post it in the comment section and I will try my best to get back to it. So the very first thing you need to have on your checklist is understand what a virtual assistant do. If you are a complete beginner, this is where you should start. What does a virtual assistant do? Generally, a virtual assistant simply offers administrative services to clients, different clients at the same time, or single client at the same time in a remote location. As a virtual assistant, you are working from your own home or your own office or whatever place you choose using your own working tools. And clients generally pay you an hourly rate based on the hours that you work for them, weekly or monthly, depending on your agreement with the client. And the virtual assistant offers hundreds of services. And one of the main purposes of a virtual assistant is to help save your client time. For example, if I have some data entry work to do, I know how to do data entry work, but most data entry work takes time. So it's easier for me to find someone and pay them to do the data entry work for me to save me the time that I will spend doing it myself. Of course, you can specialize in specific areas and be a specialized virtual assistant or be a technical virtual assistant or something very specific. But most beginners start virtual assistants as general virtual assistant. So this is what a virtual assistant do. Right now, we can check it off our list because right now, I hope we understand what a virtual assistant do. Okay, the next item in our checklist is choose the skills that you are going to start offering to client. If you want to start virtual assistant, sometimes I advise, or most times I advise beginners to start offering general assistance. And if you want to start offering general assistance, then you will need to know how to use Excel, Microsoft Excel, how to use Microsoft Word, how to use Google Sheet, how to write and send emails, how to download and upload files, all the basic things that client will want help with. So at this stage, what you need to do is ask yourself, do you have any specific skills? If you have any specific skills, you can simply write all the skills that you currently have on a piece of paper. Do you know how to use Excel? If you know how to use Excel, then you can do data entry. Do you know how to use a platform like Canva? Do you know how to use Microsoft PowerPoint? Do you know how to write content? Just take a moment and write all the things that you can do right now. If you can't think of any skills that you have right now, and you can't think of any skills that you are interested in, then it will be a good idea for you to start as a general virtual assistant. And I recently did a complete guide on general virtual assistants, so I'm going to put a link in the description of this video. You can watch that video and it will help you figure out the skills that you need to learn in order to start virtual assistants as a general virtual assistant. Okay, the next item in your checklist is learn the skills. When you figure out, you understand, you are clear about the services that you want to start offering to client, then at this stage, you need to learn how to do the services to client. If you want to do data entry work, then you need to learn how to do data entry work. If you want to do social media management, then you need to learn social media management. If you want to do content writing, then you need to learn content writing. Whatever skills, whatever services you choose to start offering to client, at this stage, you need to spend enough time. If it takes days or weeks, you need to spend enough time into learning the skills that you want to start offering to client. Okay, the next item in our checklist is get your working tools ready. When you want to work as a virtual assistant, your working tools is your computer and internet connection. So if you have a computer, great. If you don't have a computer, then you need to buy a computer. But if you have a computer that isn't that good, then you might want to sit down, clean your computer, optimize your computer, and do whatever you need to do. If you have some themes on your computer, you get rid of them and you prepare your computer to work. And when it comes to internet, simply use what you have. Some places have better internet than some places. So if you have a better internet at where you live, all good, great. If you don't have a good internet, then it might be a good idea to consider getting a Wi-Fi, or an internet router, which will give you better internet than using a modem or using your mobile phone hotspot. And the next item in our checklist is get your working space ready. You don't need to have a nice office or anything like that, but you need a quiet place to work as a virtual assistant, a dedicated quiet place. Because when you work as a virtual assistant, you are most likely going to have regular meetings with client. And if you are meeting with client, and there are other people in the background, or some people are chatting and laughing in the background, that's unprofessional. And even if you are having an interview with client, if there are too much noise in the background, other people in the background, then you just appear unprofessional and the client will hardly hire you. So what you need to do at this stage is figure out a place in your home or in your room and clean one place in your room and make it your dedicated working space as a virtual assistant. Okay, the next item in our list is set your rate. As a virtual assistant, you are most likely going to be working on an hourly rate. So at this stage, you are going to decide how much you are going to charge for every hour that you work for client. And this might depend on the type of services that you want to start offering. Some services, you can charge higher than some services. But generally, if you are starting as a general virtual assistant, then it will not be a good idea to choose a high rate. And it won't also be a good idea to choose the lowest rate, because if you choose the lowest rate, you are going to end up finding clients who are looking for someone to take advantage of. The clients who are looking for someone reliable, they are not necessarily looking for the lowest price. And if you charge the lowest price, client might even feel uncomfortable with trusting the quality of work that you can deliver. Okay, the next item in our checklist is very important, and that is create work samples. Previously, we talked about learning the skills that you want to start offering to client. So at this stage, you are going to create samples that you can show to potential client. If you want to do data entry, then you have to create some data entry files that you can take a screenshot and add on your portfolio, and also send a view link to your potential client when you start reaching out to potential client. Same thing with email management, same thing with content writing. Whatever services you choose to start offering, you need to spend some time, enough time at this stage to create the best sample that you can. Your work sample is going to contribute a lot to how fast you find client. So it is too important to skip. You have to spend all the time you need to create attractive work samples. Okay, the next item in our checklist is create a portfolio and sign up on a freelancing platform. When you sign up on Upwork or Fiverr, Upwork and Fiverr are the best, and they are the two that I recommend. There are a lot of other freelancing platforms, but I recommend you stay with Upwork and Fiverr, because if you go to other freelancing platforms, you will just end up spreading yourself too thin, and they are hardly going to provide any result. So I suggest you stick to Upwork and Fiverr. You create your profile as a virtual assistant, and you can create a portfolio in both Upwork and Fiverr. Your work samples are going to be your portfolio on Upwork and Fiverr. And after you have your profile on Upwork and Fiverr, you can then create a portfolio outside of a freelancing platform, and you can use Canva to create a website-like portfolio that you can share a link with potential client. This is important because your portfolio is what is going to help you sell yourself to potential client. I have full tutorials on how to create an account, a virtual assistant account on Upwork and Fiverr, and also how to create a portfolio website in Canva. So I will put a link to those tutorials in the description of this video. Okay, the next item in our checklist is learn cold outreach. Finding clients on a freelancing platform might take a lot of time, especially with a lot of changes happening on both Upwork and Fiverr. And that is why I recommend you learn how to use cold outreach, how to find clients using cold outreach. Generally, cold outreach is you find people who you believe are going to benefit from your services, and you send them an email or social media message. You introduce yourself and your services, and you invite them to interview. With cold outreach, learning how to present yourself right and having attractive work samples is what is going to help you find clients. But there are a lot of other factors that are going to contribute to you finding clients using cold outreach. And that is why I also have a full tutorial on cold outreach. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video. Okay, the next item in our checklist is learn how freelancing platform works. Learn how Upwork and Fiverr works. If you watch my tutorials on how to create an account on Upwork and Fiverr, then you will have a good idea of how both of them works. So this step is going to be an easy one if you watch my previous tutorials. And the next item in our checklist is keep sending proposals. At this stage, you already have your portfolio. You already choose the skills you want to start offering. You learn the skills. You set your rate. You learn cold outreach. You have your portfolio and work samples. What you just need to do is keep sending proposals. You are going to have to send a lot of proposals before you hear back from potential client. And even if you hear back from potential client, sometimes you will set up an interview and they might ghost you. You will attend the interview and they will not be attending the interview. That's normal. And so that is why you need to send a lot of proposals, a lot of good proposals. And the more you send proposals, the better you are going to be at sending proposals. So learn how freelancing platform works and send proposals on Upwork, create attractive gigs on Fiverr, and send emails, send cold outreach emails. Do it consistently and it will just be a matter of time before you find your first client. When I got started, it took me around 3 to 4 months to find my first client. And if you want to learn more about that, you can watch this next video where I explain why it took me that long to find my first client and what you can do to help you improve your process, to help you find your first client faster. If you find this video helpful, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next one.